Hi everyone, welcome back to Wilde Reads, welcome back to another video, and welcome back to another edition of 6 brand new books to look out for, this time in the month of November. Now November is probably the last month that publishers have, well it is the last month that publishers have to get their titles onto the shelves before the Christmas rush. So I have 6 really good looking books here. As the year goes on, it's probably getting harder to pick out 6 books, and next month is not looking very good at all. Okay, the first one I have for you is House of Glass. This is by Susan Fletcher. It's out on the 1st of November. This looks really good. If you're into Gothic literature, if you're into Daphne du Maurier, then this one could be for you. June 1914, and a young woman, Clara Waterfield, is summoned to a large stone house in Gloucestershire. Her task: to fill a greenhouse with exotic plants from Kew, to create a private paradise for the owner of Shadowbrook. Yet on arrival, Clara hears rumours something is wrong with this quiet, wisteria-covered house. Its gardens are filled with foxgloves, hydrangea and roses. It has lily ponds, a croquet lawn, and the marvellous new glasshouse awaits her. But the house feels unloved. Its rooms are shuttered or empty. The owner is mostly absent. The housekeeper and maid seem afraid. And soon Clara understands their fear, for something or someone is walking through the house at night. In the height of summer, she finds herself drawn deeper into Shadowbrook's dark interior and into the secrets that violently haunt this house. Nothing, not even the men who claim they wish to help her, is quite what it seems. And this is also described as reminiscent of Daphne du Maurier. This is a wonderful atmospheric Gothic page-turner, a deeply absorbing, unput-downable ghost story that is also a love story. For readers who love Sarah Walters, Frances Hodges Burnett and Margaret Atwood, that is definitely going on my wish list for the month of November. That's House of Glass by Susan Fletcher, published by Virago and out on the 1st of November. Up next we have The Waiter. This is published by Quercus and it's by Matthias Fordbakken. In an expensive restaurant in Oslo, a highly strung waiter tends to the desires of his customers. Welcome to the Hills, Oslo's most esteemed restaurant, an institution stewed in tradition and clinging to the faded grandeur of old Europe. A neurotic waiter tends to the desires of his regular and irregular clientele. Aristocrats, wealthy widows and roguish entrepreneurs, he observes all their dramas with a wit as sharp as a filleting knife. At table 10 sits the impeccable Mr. Graham, the most demanding of them all, impatiently awaiting a special guest. When at last she arrives, young, beautiful, mysterious, she will prove a challenging new flavour, throwing into disarray our waiter's nerves and the delicately balanced ingredients of the room. And it's described here as exquisitely observed and wickedly playful. The Waiter is a novel for lovers of food, wine and European sensibilities, but also for anyone who spends time in restaurants on either side of the service. That's The Waiter by Matthias Fordbakken. It's out on the 1st of November and published by Quercus. Up next we have The Stranger Diaries. This is written by Ellie Griffiths. It's published again by Quercus, out on the 1st of November. And this seems to fit in with the trend this month. Gothic is very much in trend at the moment. And this is described as a standalone from one of Quercus' biggest names in crime, a gripping contemporary Gothic thriller from the best-selling author of the Dr. Ruth Galloway mysteries. Claire Cassidy is no stranger to tales of murder. As a literature teacher specialising in the Gothic writer R.M. Holland, she teaches a short course on them every year. Then Claire's life and work collide tragically when one of her colleagues is found dead. A line from an R.M. Holland novel by her body. The investigating police detective is convinced the writer's work somehow holds the key to the case. Not knowing who to trust and afraid that the killer is someone she knows, Claire confides her darkest suspicions and fears about the case to her journal. Then one day she notices some other writing in her diary, writing that isn't hers. That sounds really spooky. That's The Stranger Diaries by Ellie Griffiths, published by Quercus and out on the 1st of November. Next up, this is a book I've been looking forward to buying for absolutely months since I first heard a bit of a fluttering of news about it on the social media network. This is Middle England, written by Jonathan Coe. It's published by Viking. and is out on the 8th of November. This is one of those State of the Nation novels that I absolutely love. The last great State of the Nation novel I read was probably Winter by Ali Smith, but before that it was probably Capital by John Lanchester. Look out for John Lanchester. He's got a great new book coming out in January, which I shall be telling you all about in due course. But this one is called Middle England, written by Jonathan Coe. And it feels like a good time at the moment, doesn't it, for a State of the Nation novel, because we are in this sort of Brexit flux at the moment. So beginning 8 years ago on the outskirts of Birmingham, where car factories have been replaced by Poundland, and London, where frenzied riots give way to Olympic fever, Middle England follows a brilliantly vivid cast of characters through a time of immense change. There are newlyweds Ian and Sophie who disagree about the future of the country and possibly the future of their relationship. Doug, the political commentator who writes impassioned columns about austerity from his Chelsea townhouse, and his radical teenage daughter who will stop at nothing in her quest for social justice. Benjamin Trotter, who embarks on an apparently doomed new career in middle age, and his father Colin, whose last wish is to vote in the European referendum. And within all these lives is the story of modern England, a story of nostalgia and delusion, of bewilderment and barely suppressed rage. I've been looking forward to this for so long. This is Middle England by Jonathan Coe, published by Viking and out on the 8th of November. Next up we have a thriller. This is Under the Ice by Rachel Bloch. This is published by Head of Zeus. It is the week before Christmas and the cathedral city of St Albans is blanketed by snow. But beneath the festive lights, darkness is stirring. The frozen body of a young girl is discovered by the ice-covered lake. The police scramble for clues. A local woman, Jenny, has visions of what happened the night of the murder. But Jenny is an exhausted new mother, whose midnight wanderings put her ever closer to the lake. Can Jenny be trusted? What does she really know? Then another girl goes missing and the community unravels. Neighbour turns against neighbour, and Jenny has no idea who to believe. As Christmas Eve approaches, Jenny discovers a secret about her past and why she could be the key to everything. That's Rachel Bloch with Under the Ice, published by Head of Zeus and out on the 8th of November. The last one I've got for you is 5 Days of Fog by Anna Freeman. This is published by W&N and is out on the 15th of November. London, December 1952. At the beginning of what will become known as the Great Smog, Ruby Palmer waits to be released from prison. At home, her daughter Florrie also waits, knowing that the moment her mother returns, she herself will face a choice. Stay where she is, in the heart of her matriarchal and criminal family, or leave it all to make a safer, duller life with a decent young man. But what will she do if she's too crooked to go straight and too good to go bad? Over the next 5 days, as London grinds to a halt in impenetrable and poisonous fog, Florrie will have to find her own path and the courage to stumble along it. 5 Days of Fog follows the last days of a crumbling female gang in post-war London, in a fog so thick that you can't see your own feet. It's a story of a family, of finding your way and of deciphering a route through the greyest areas of morality. That seems really, really good. That's 5 Days of Fog, written by Anna Freeman, out on the 15th of November and published by W&N. That's it. That's all I've got time for. That was the 6 new books for November. I really like the sound of those books. I really, really like the sound of those books. I will be back on Sunday for another BookTube video. Whatever you're doing this week, enjoy your books. And I'll see you back here on Sunday for another BookTube video. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.